Credit to Ilia Topuria for being the first person to knock out Max Holloway. And yes, Holloway was my dog of the night play at plus 200, hoping that he'd be able to stay away from the early danger of Ilia Topuria and really start to put it on him in the third, fourth, and fifth round to either finish him late or get that decision victory. But we were unable to see that, as Topuria does a great job of biding his time and landing the big shot in the third round to finally put Max Holloway away. I know I had a very firm stance on Holloway last week, and I'm ready to take it on the chin, take L's like a man. Gotta do that at some points. Sometimes I'll be right while eating shit, just like I did when I had Paul Hughes against AJ McKee a few weeks ago. And sometimes I'll be wrong, like I was with Max Holloway this weekend. That's the name of the game. But luckily with the MMA world, we're able to get right back to action the following week with the event pretty much every single week on the calendar. And we're going to have to do that here as well. So shout out to everybody that cashed on Ilia Topuria. I'll take the L on Max Holloway. We did cash our dog of the night play with Dante Schiro on LFA, which allows us to go 1-1 on the weekend for slight profit. So that now brings our yearly record to 44-75 for minus 8.63 units and a minus 7% ROI. Again, we were pretty much in the hole halfway through the year here with a very horrible start to the dog of the night plays. I think we're down almost 25 units on the year. Now down only 8 units, 8.5 units. We're trending the right way. We're hitting the spots that we need to. Just got to stay the course, and hopefully by the end of the year, we're either in the profit or at least in the black. But again, I'm very happy to erase the deficit that we were at earlier this year with a very solid run of underdog hits. I got another 3 underdog picks for you guys here. Again, these are just candidates. Sometimes I play all 3 of them. Sometimes I only play one of them. The only people that know which of these underdog candidates I chose as my dog of the night play is on the Lock of the Night Patreon page, so you guys can check that out with the link in the description below, but also give yourself access to the Cage Warriors and ACA breakdowns that I'll have strictly in written form. All right, let's get right to work here. First candidate up for dog of the night for UFC Edmonton is going to be Jack Shore at plus 205 as he goes up against the streaking Yusuf Zalal. I think the reason we're getting such a wide line here on Jack Shore is due to the recency bias. Shore has been coming up short against more physical and athletic fighters like Ricky Simone and Joe Anderson Brito, but Yusuf Zalal does not fit that category. Zalal is clearly the better striker here, and he should do a good enough job with his footwork and ability to manage range. But I think Shore will do a good enough job in terms of cutting off the cage, getting into his takedowns, and getting into that relentless grappling approach, which has been so successful for him in the past, and that allowed him to start his career with a 16-0 perfect record. Zalal has looked very good as of late, but I do not think he has been fighting anybody that will put him through the grind the way that Shore will, and that's kind of been the kryptonite of Zalal in the past. So even though Zalal looks to have turned a new leaf here, this will be the true answer that we need to find out if Zalal is truly a newer fighter or if he will still come up short against guys that are usually the kryptonite to his style. And I think Shore will be able to provide that here at plus 205 as a potential dog of the night candidate. The second dog of the night candidate is going to be Victor Henry at plus 100 as he takes on Charles Jourdain, who is going to be coming down to bantamweight for the first time in his career. This is a horrible stylistic matchup for Jourdain in his bantamweight debut, taking on a guy that likes to utilize high output, high volume, and a great all-around game. He has good output from distance, just as he showed against Raoni Barcelos in his UFC debut, but can also go out there and grind opponents out with his wrestling, and I think that's what he's going to be leaning on here to defeat a guy in Jourdain who likes to utilize a flashy and unorthodox striking approach. I do not think Jourdain will be successful with latching on to a guillotine, which has been his answer to defensive wrestling in the past, as Henry has never been finished in 30 professional fights, and he's fought much better guys than Jourdain in the past. I'm going to go Henry here, and I think he grinds this fight out and wins it on the scorecards. The third and final dog of the night candidate is going to be Trevin Giles, coming in at plus 210 as he takes on Canada's next hope for a champion in Mike Malott. Unfortunately, I'm a big Mike Malott fan, but I think that this is a bad matchup for him, especially if he is unable to finish Giles. Malott is obviously a vicious finisher who could produce a knockout here, but we've seen Giles at his best is able to tee off on people and utilize his speed and blitzing attacks to really touch up his opponents. If you guys will go back and watch Giles' last performance against Carlos Praches, who I believe is a technically better striker than Mike Malott, we saw him torch Praches on the feet for about 7 minutes before he got caught with a straight left that put Giles' lights clean out. That's the issue with Giles. He's a very talented fighter, but his durability is a big question mark. Should it come through for him here against Mike Malott, especially through the first 5 or 6 minutes, it's going to be a lot harder for Malott to land that big shot in the latter half of this matchup, as he does have a bit of a cardio issue. And considering the pace and pressure that we're going to be seeing from Giles throughout this matchup with his 1-2s down the pipe and damaging Malott, I think Giles will be able to stay safe enough through the first 5 to 6 minutes and really start running away with this matchups in the second and third rounds, where he could potentially produce a finish of his own as Malott starts gasping for air. So at plus 210, Giles is definitely worth an underdog consideration as a potential dog of the night play. Which of these three do I end up going with? Check the MMA LOTM Patreon page for that answer. Otherwise, drop a comment below. Take a guess. Which of these three do you think it is? And if your dog of the night play is not one of these three, let me know who it is in the comment section below, and we'll see how they do come Saturday night. All right. That's a wrap on the content today. I will see you guys again tomorrow for the quick picks version of the UFC Edmonton breakdown. I'll see you guys then. Peace.